Red alert, guys. Did you hear me? Why? Well, because Lil Nas X is a homosexual tool of the devil, and we need to defeat him with the power of Christ, of course. No, the red alert is the fact that the fashion scene is overrun with fakes. And I'm not just talking about the bloggers and influencers either. I'm talking about literal fake clothes. If you regularly buy at resale, like on Grailed or Depop, the RealReal or Vestiaire Collective, eBay or Poshmark, it's possible, maybe even likely, that you've got some fakes in your closet and you don't even know about it. How could that be, you might ask? Why, I know everything. I couldn't possibly be fooled by a crappy knockoff. Yeah, you're a genius, sure, everyone thinks they are. But I get Instagram messages every day from people who bought something thinking it was real that turned out to be fake. Fakes are good as hell nowadays. You've got like these fashion mad scientists in China making some of the most accurate knockoffs the world has ever seen. It's actually kind of impressive when you think about it, like really, how do you make fakes like that? How do you figure out exactly what every little stitch is? Whatever, they're never unbeatable is the point. I'd say there are two primary reasons people fall for fakes. Either they had too little care or too much trust. Maybe a combination of the two. So, do you want to stop being a dingus and make sure you never buy fake crap ever again? Well, keep watching. But first, I've looked into it, and a very, very small percentage of you are actually subscribed to the channel. It's completely free. Just press that button and you will not regret it. Thank you so much. So, as I said, there are usually two reasons you could end up with a fake. You took too little care or you trusted too much. Let's talk about that first one. What do I mean by too little care? I know, I hear you now. But low luxury, I care a lot. I care about my mom and my friends, and I really care about what Kanye West is doing. That's not the kind of care I mean. Too little care is actually really my polite way of saying not enough brains. Basically, you done screwed up. The biggest way people end up with fakes at resale is because they just didn't do their research. You saw a piece you wanted for a good price, you bought it, and oh no, it's fake. Yeah, if something's too good to be true, it's probably just not true. Like the porn star looking girl named Tiffany who came up to you in Vegas and immediately asked if you wanted to bang, and you were like, I'm the luckiest man alive, let's go. And then you did, and it was dope as hell, but then 5 minutes later there's a 200-pound ex-MMA fighter named Rocco at your door saying you owe him $2,000 for the good time with Tiffany. Yeah, too good to be true. Should have seen it coming. The upside is, this is the easiest one to fix. I've talked about this a bit in past videos, so I'll go over it quickly here. Here are the steps you can take to have more brains when buying at resale. First, look at the price. Is someone selling a nice new Gucci t-shirt for $70? Yeah, it's fake. How can I be so sure? Because if someone had a nice new Gucci shirt, then they damn well know how much those cost and how much they can charge for it. That price is a lot more than $70. If you want quality, you're gonna have to pay up. You can still get great deals, just stop expecting to find a winning fashion lottery ticket. It's not gonna happen. You should also check out the seller. Do they have something up for a really good price and you're suspicious? Check out their feedback and their other listings. If they have bad feedback saying the person's selling fakes or no feedback, don't buy that shit. If all their other listings are also valuable pieces at too low prices, stay away. Like, I chew nicotine gum. I've got it like in my, you don't want to see my gums like that. I literally keep it in my upper lip while I'm doing these videos. That's how, it's like I'm dipping right now. Anyway, that's besides the point. So clearly I chew nicotine gum. But if there's a guy on the corner selling Nicorette for $1 a box, I'm not buying from that guy, you know? Boxes of Nicorette cost like $50. They're crazy expensive. Oh wow. This guy named Drip Drip Plug is selling these off-white Jordans for $200. No way! He has no reviews and no previous sales, and in the past day he's posted 50 listings of hype sneakers for retail prices. Let me get out my credit card. Finally, look at the damn pictures. Are they all pictures ripped from retail listings with no pictures of the actual item in hand by the seller? Bad sign. Is there only one picture? Bad sign. Do the pictures avoid important details that would help you determine if it's legit? Bad sign. If you do have pictures of the retail tags or care tags on a piece, Google the details and model numbers. If the wrong shit shows up, stay away. If you need more pictures, just ask. And if the seller won't give them to you, also stay away. Like, it's pretty simple, but some people just can't figure it out. I don't know. Like, I'm sure all this sounds really easy and straightforward to you guys, but you'd be surprised how often people are just blinded by what they think is a good deal. Like, stop being blinded. All the time I'm getting these messages where people clearly know it's fake, but they're like, but maybe it's real. I'll just message him and check and he'll tell me, no, it's fake. It's always fake. And that's it though. It's nice and easy. That's how you use your brains when you're buying at resale. And I know there are gonna be at least a couple of sniveling hypebeasts out there like, why do you even care if it's real? Reps are fucking sick. UA plug for life, bro. And this isn't a video where I'm gonna talk about the legitimacy of replicas. Maybe I will someday, but for now, all I'll say is that it ain't for me. I like wearing real stuff because part of the enjoyment for me is that kind of if you know thing where people recognize the quality and value of what I'm wearing. That breaks down if the quality and value isn't actually there. For rep lovers, maybe the enjoyment is the act of tricking those people into thinking you're wearing something of quality and value. But I'm an honest and upstanding contributing member of society, not a dirty trickster. Take that, David Blaine. But remember, there's another reason people end up with fakes: too much trust. And this one is where it gets really fucking hard. I mean, sometimes it's not hard at all. If the trust you're giving is when the seller of a $70 Gucci shirt puts 100% authentic in the description, again, you're just dumb. But what about the trust that buyers put into these reselling platforms? What about the trust they put into StockX or the RealReal or any of these sites that claim to sell authenticated pieces? Yeah, now it's getting tricky. So there's been a lot of press over the years when it comes to StockX and their issues with fakes. I remember a lot of fanfare over some issues with Travis Scott Jordan slipping through the cracks, but I've also heard about StockX having issues with much more obscure pieces like Kith Pendleton collab hoodies. Some people will defend StockX to the death, and usually that's either because they're dumb fanboys or because they have a financial interest in making sure StockX stays successful. Well, I've never gotten any fakes from StockX, and I've sold $3 million worth of product on there in the last 2 years. But even StockX admits that fakes slip through the cracks sometimes. But when you're dealing with that much product, you are never going to be 100% accurate. However, StockX are also effing hypocrites because they have a page up on their site called Always Authentic, Never Fake. And I wouldn't be surprised if someday they end up in court over that for false advertising. It's just a completely indefensible argument. Of course there are fakes on StockX. The question is, how many? And that's a question we have no answer to and likely never will. When you look across the resale landscape, things don't get any better either. If you haven't heard of the RealReal, I wouldn't blame you. They're definitely not as well known in the hypebeast world as StockX, but they're another massive luxury resale company, and much like StockX, they claim to only sell authentic pieces. However, that's been shown to be a lie.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
In 2019, they had a huge PR crisis when various publications started doing exposés on how awful their authentication process was. Long story short, they would only give the rarest, most valuable pieces to the real authenticators who knew what they were doing. Most of the pieces, though, went to undertrained copywriters who probably couldn't tell a Gucci from a Poochie. All the talk of fakes on the RealReal has died down since then, and I wouldn't be surprised if they've fixed things up a lot since then. I mean, wouldn't you if you'd been dunked on that hard by the national press? But things don't get much better across the pond. That is where Vestiaire Collective has the biggest market share. They're essentially the European version of the RealReal, although you can buy and sell on there from anywhere in the world. So basically, you're getting fakes, but from Europe. So much better, right? So high-end, European, yeah. In my view, Vestiaire Collective is a fucking nightmare. Like, pure Nightmare on Elm Street, night terror shit. One of the most popular videos on my channel is a video about how they sold me a fake Dior shirt. So I have a bit of a personal vendetta, and it's true that I will not rest until they're gasping for breath under my chunky, fashionable sneakers. But it's indisputable that they have issues. Unlike the RealReal, who authenticate everything before it's posted for sale on their site, on Vestiaire, you post the items yourself, and then once they're sold, they go to Vestiaire to be authenticated. Just looking at the pictures on Vestiaire shows a site overrun with replica fake pieces. And I guess I can forgive that. They haven't technically gotten to the authentication point yet. I mean, more moderation would be pretty chill, guys, but I understand. The problem is that they authenticate those fakes way too often. Just on the comments of my own video, I've heard about it a lot. eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari all do authentication for certain categories of items or items above certain price points. I honestly don't have too much to say about that because those sites have no real track record in the authentication game, so I personally have very little trust in them until proven otherwise. But I'm definitely happy that they're at least trying. I'm looking at you, Depop. Yeah, that's right, Depop. You ain't even trying. You sorry excuse for a marketplace, you. Now let's talk about the worst of the bunch, Grailed. You may or may not know this, but Grailed do authenticate some of the items on their site. If an item has been authenticated, it'll have a little badge above the item description in the listing. But Grailed's authentication has like the biggest asterisk of all fucking time next to it. Why? Well, it's digital authentication. What in the hell is that shit? And don't worry, it gets even worse, because the pieces are being digitally authenticated by moderators, not skilled authenticators, but neckbeard mouth breathers who moderate Grailed categories. It's bonkers. So the issues with Grailed are twofold. First, we have no assurances that the people authenticating the listings actually know what the hell they're doing. Second, they don't actually ever get the items in hand, so they're just basing it off of photos. Do you see any issues there? Any at all? Well, first of all, there's no guarantee that the photos being used in the listing are actually of the thing the seller is gonna ship you. Maybe they've got one real pair and 100 reps, and they took pictures of the real ones, got them digitally authenticated by Grailed, and now they're shipping the fakes to all the bozos who want them. Beyond that, photos could be shopped or at least taken from listings on other sites. Basically what I'm saying is take Grailed authentications with the biggest grain of salt of all time. Like Dead Sea levels of salt, please. So all of that is what I'm talking about when I say that people have too much trust. They trusted that the authentic item they bought from StockX or Grailed or wherever else was as real as the site claimed. But that is false way more often than those sites admit. And you might be thinking, that's so stupid, you should always check it no matter what. And I agree, but I get where people are coming from. It's like if some guy on the street tells you to watch WandaVision, you might be curious, but you'll go read some reviews, watch a trailer, stuff like that before you commit to watching it. But if your buddy, who has good taste in TV, tells you to watch it, you might just go ahead and do it. Why? Because you trust the guy and trust that what he's telling you is the truth. People have trust in StockX and Grailed and sites like that. So, that knowledge is all well and good, but how does it get fixed? Glad you asked. I don't know. You see, there was a time when I said that more transparency would help. And don't get me wrong, I do think that would be better than what we have now. Right now, we basically have a black box of authentication where all these platforms are like, everything that goes through this box is totally authentic, but you're absolutely not allowed to look in the box, ever. So I would like to see these sites putting out reports. What percentage of items you get are real versus fake? How often do you make mistakes and sell a customer a fake piece that needs to be returned? The problem with this is that it could incentivize a shutdown of communication between the platform and the buyer. So let's take Vestiaire Collective as an example. Right now, if they sell you a piece that you think is fake, you're allowed to send it back for a second look. If they agree and say, oops, yeah, you're right, we did sell you a fake, they pony up and give you your money back. That's what happened to me with my Dior shirt. But now imagine that every quarter they have to put out a report that tells everyone in the world how often that happened. Now there's much less incentive for them to take that item back for a second look. Instead, maybe they start saying, no, we were right, we only sell authentic stuff, you're wrong. Why would they do that? Well, because then their report would be sparkly clean and say, we sold 0 fake items this quarter. Fuck yeah, capitalism, so sick, right? Now, you might think I'm a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist here, but StockX already kind of does this. There are a bunch of cases where someone has claimed they got a fake item, and when they bring it to StockX's attention or bring it up on their forums, they've been banned straight out because they don't want anybody out there in the community spreading the message that they sell fake shit. Which, again, they all do. I'm telling you, trust no one, please. So clearly, I've kind of given up on guaranteeing authenticity from any of these sites. And it's not just because they're all evil, it's because authentication is hard. At least at StockX, they're very specific about what items they stock. They make sure to only sell stuff that they feel confident they can authenticate. But if you look at the RealReal or Vestiaire Collective, it's the wild fucking west. They take items from every brand under the sun. And I feel like that's just asking for trouble. Like, they really expect us to believe that they can reliably authenticate any menswear from Philip Lim to Zegna Sport, women's footwear from Acne Studios to Vera Wang, as well as bags, watches, jewelry, and more. How many people do you employ? The entire population of France? I'm sorry, I just refuse to believe that they really have an authenticator on staff who has deep knowledge of Musica Frere clothing. Yeah, I'd never heard of them either, that's the point. So expecting 100% accuracy from these platforms is a bit of a fool's errand. We should absolutely push for it, and I think you have a much better chance of getting a real pair of shoes from StockX than you do from Depop, but it's just not gonna be perfect. So what do? How do you absolutely 100% confidently, completely, unquestionably guarantee that what you're buying is real? First, if you do buy at resale, give every piece at least a quick legit check, even if you bought it from one of these so-called authenticated sites, because as I hope I've proven, they're not always actually doing the authenticating all that well. And if you do buy at these sites, use PayPal or something like that, where you can dispute it if you want to and hopefully get your money back if it is fake and they don't accept it back. But if you want to be even more sure, don't buy resale. Buy your stuff new from legit boutique sites. But it's so expensive! I mean, yeah, sometimes. But you'd be surprised. Here's a trick I use. Go to list.com, L-Y-S-T. Basically, they collect a bunch of fashion listings from real boutiques. Search for what you're looking for, and on the left there's a little sale tab. You can find stuff there for 50% or more off. I promise you, I have gotten all of my best deals from doing this or stuff like it. Here's a little secret. People on resale are greedy. Even the well-intentioned ones are still trying to get as much money out of their pieces as possible. The sites on list are just trying to clear inventory, and you can find some sick stuff for really, really cheap. And here's the dirty truth. Even then, there's a tiny, but not inconceivable chance that you could still get a fake, even from a legit brand new site. People sometimes pull off return scams where they buy a legit piece and then do a return with a fake piece, and that shop may then sell that fake return piece without even realizing it. So if you want to avoid that, you can buy directly from the brands, but brand sites rarely go on sale, at least not nearly as much as the boutique sites do. So what's the moral? Everything sucks and everything is fake. But there is a magic weapon against fakes that you can use to defeat them. Your gosh dang noggin. Check your shit, people, and let's make the world a better place together. Now, make sure you watch the other video on screen here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.